Bold marketing, how to rise above the noise in your niche and get your prospects' attention. Your offers and your business as a whole may feel pretty new and exciting to you. It's your baby. You've spent countless nights thinking about it, growing it, turning it into the next best thing since sliced bread, and it almost feels like everyone else should be excited about it as you are. But guess what? Your prospects have heard it all before. They've seen it. So if you're pushing out the same old tired marketing messages, they're going to keep scrolling. Tune out. Click away. Think about it for a second. Trying to get your prospects' attention is like standing on a busy, noisy street corner and trying to get your friend's attention from across the street. If you meekly wave, they're not going to notice. If you yell, they're not going to hear you. If you yell loud enough but don't say their name, they're going to ignore you because they won't realize the yelling is aimed at them. Tell you what, if you want to get this friend's attention, you need to be bold. You've got one shot to get his attention before he turns the corner and disappears out of sight forever. So you need to make it count. So what would get your friend's attention? How about strapping on some jetpacks and hovering high above the crowd? Yep, that would work. All eyes would turn upwards, and that includes your friend. Or maybe you pull a Spider-Man and start scaling up the nearest building, again rising above the crowd and grabbing everyone's attention. Or heck, maybe you find yourself a fire-breathing dragon, jump on and have it soar into the air while shooting out fireballs. I know, this is getting more preposterous by the second. Maybe even a little silly. But you know what? Your prospects are a lot like your friend. And that's because the mundane, everyday sort of stuff just isn't going to get their attention. Your marketing needs to be bold like a fire-breathing dragon. That busy street corner your prospects are standing on is clogged with marketers who are trying to get their attention every second of every day. Some of those marketers are your direct competitors. Some of them work in other fields. But you and every single other marketer are all trying to capture the same thing, your prospects' attention. That's right, we're not even talking about closing the sale. All we're doing is talking about getting attention. Because if you can't get attention, then absolutely nothing else in your marketing plan matters. Nothing. And that's why I've created this book. Over the next several pages, you're going to discover the secrets of rising above the noise in your market and getting your prospects' attention by uncovering the hidden benefit in your offer, presenting that benefit in a new and exciting way, and creating a hook that grabs attention. Plus, you'll get a set of real-world examples showing you how other businesses were able to get so much attention in the crowded, noisy marketplace that their content or offers went viral and reached a huge audience. Simply put, what you're about to discover is going to change your business in a very positive and powerful way. And by the time you finish reading this, your head is going to be swimming with ideas of how to turn your marketing plans into a fire-breathing dragon that gets attention. So grab your favorite beverage, turn off your phone, get comfortable, and let's get started. Getting a peek inside your prospect's mind. Here's a mistake that a whole lot of marketers make when they try to separate themselves from their competitors. They look for ways that their offer is better. Sure, creating something better than the everything else on the market is important, but you know what? Simply offering something better doesn't always grab attention. If you want to grab attention, then you need to do something different. Because here's the thing, your prospects are mad busy. They're being bombarded with marketing messages, and they've got a million and other one things on their mind. They're thinking about what they need to do at work. They're wondering if they need to pick up eggs at the store. They're thinking about what to pack in the kids' lunches tomorrow. They're thinking about their exams and the oil level in the car, and that weird mole on their back, and how they can smooth over relations with the neighbor, and the state of the rainforests, and why one sock always disappears in the dryer, and that's it. Their brain has reached capacity. If you show them something they've seen a million times before, they're going to tune out. They need something different. Better may or may not be different. So that's why you need to focus on different. Because you know what? When your prospect gets really busy, they start running on autopilot. Their brains search for recognizable patterns. And when they encounter something they recognize, they drop that thing into some pre-existing file folder in that brain. For example, if they see something that merely looks like an ad, they drop it into the marketing advertising file folder of their brain. If something feels like an ad, if something has the same vibe as an ad, yep, it goes into that advertising category. You know what happens to things that get mentally categorized as ads? They get ignored. Oh, I've seen this before. Prospect mutes ad on TV. Oh, junk mail. Prospect throws an advertising circular into the trash. Oh, an ad. Prospect hits the back button. Mute, toss, leave, delete, ignore. This is what happens when your prospect goes on autopilot mode and detects an advertising pattern. If you want to get past these ad defenses, you need to create a pattern interrupt. That means putting a marketing message in front of your prospects that looks, feels, and seems different. Here's how you need your prospect to start reacting when they see your landing page, video, or other promo. Hey, what's this all about? Prospect turns up TV. Hey, this is interesting. Prospect takes a closer look at a piece of postal mail. Ooh, I need to know more. Prospect opens an email and keeps reading. Whoa, that's different. Prospect fills in an opt-in form. When you interrupt a predicted pattern, you get something extremely valuable. Your prospect's time and attention. You may not buy yourself a lot of time. You may only get a few extra seconds, but that's all you need in order to draw your prospect in further. You see, you can think of your marketing as a big magnet. If you create the right message and the right hook, then you're going to pull your prospects towards you. It's like putting the opposite poles of two magnets together. They're drawn irresistibly towards one another. If you put something in front of your prospects that they've already seen, then it's like putting the same poles of two magnets together. Your marketing magnet is going to backfire and send your prospect fleeing from you. And you know what? They'll probably flee right into the waiting arms of your competitor. So you can see why you need to be different. Now that brings us to the next question. How? How do you do this? Read on. The two-punch combo that knocks out your competitors. Let me take a wild guess here. You're not offering something that's so amazingly different that absolutely no one on the planet has seen it before. Am I right? And you know what? That's okay. You don't need to offer a product that all of human existence has never seen before. You just need to find a different way to market it. You need to create that pattern interrupt. In other words, you can take a product that people have seen before, polish it up with a brand new marketing spin, hook, and that's enough to turn a scraping to get by business into a raging success. Let me give you an example. If you know anything about the weight loss industry, then you know there are dozens upon dozens of weight loss programs on the market. So, here come this weight loss program called P90X, which is a program that promises to transform bodies in just 90 days. So far, that's pretty ho-hum, right? There are plenty of other programs that promise the same thing. P90X's method for blasting fat includes, and I quote, 12 intense workouts that use resistance and body weight training, cardio, plyometrics, ab work, martial arts, and yoga, along with a nutrition plan, fitness guide, and workout calendar. Here, let me translate that for you. Dieters will lose weight by eating less and exercising more. Ho-hum, right? Pretty much every major weight loss program on the planet includes some combination of lowering calories and increasing exercise. It's nothing new. It's nothing people haven't seen before. And if that is all P90X said about their weight loss program, they'd struggle to pull in sales. I'm not guessing about the predicted outcome. Because you know what? The P90X marketing team originally struggled to come up with a way to differentiate themselves. And so they advertised their program's main benefit of weight loss. No one cared. The target audience had seen it all before. And P90X struggled like crazy to make even a respectable amount of sales. And then the P90X team figured out a way to differentiate their weight loss program from all the other weight loss programs that relied on eating less and exercising more. Their solution? They simply came up with a little mechanism called muscle confusion. And then they began marketing their program based on the science of this muscle confusion. At this point, they weren't selling an eat less, exercise more program any longer. Now they were selling something that no one else had. Muscle confusion. Many dieters had tried all sorts of dieting programs over the years. They are well familiar with the market and its offerings. And muscle confusion was different. It made prospects stop in their tracks and say, "Hey, that's interesting, I've never heard that before." Pattern interrupt. And boom, P90X now has the market's attention. And this ability to grab attention is what led the company to generating millions upon millions of dollars. It took them from a virtually unknown and struggling company to one of the best-known weight loss solutions in the market. Here's how it works. P90X makes a promise. This is their big benefit, which is to lose fat, gain muscle, and get into the best shape of your life in just 90 days. Then they added in a unique way to deliver on that promise, which is muscle confusion. This two-punch combo immediately engages prospects on both an emotional level, hell yeah, I want to get into the best shape of my life, and an intellectual level, what on earth is muscle confusion? I must know more. That's it. P90X didn't really invent a new way to lose weight. Instead, they invented a new term for the science behind it. And no one else in their market offered the same unique benefit deliver system, so they blew their competitors out of the water. Which brings us to this question. Just what exactly are you selling? So here's where we're at. You're going to make a big promise benefit. You're going to deliver this promise in a unique way. And this two-punch combo is going to emotionally and intellectually engage your audience. This means you need to do two things. Part one, Determine what your big promise benefit is. This is most often what engages prospect on an emotional level. Part 2. Decide how you're going to deliver on this promise in a unique way. This often engages prospects on an intellectual level. We'll look at these two things separately in just a moment. But first, let's look at the 7 characteristics every two-punch combo, benefit plus delivery, must possess in order to command attention. The 7 secrets of commanding attention. Very shortly, you're going to start doing some brainstorming to determine your big promise and unique delivery. Together, this combination must possess a mix of 7 characteristics. If you're soft and weak on even one of these characteristics, your prospect's attention is going to slip away. Here are those 7 characteristics in no particular order. Singular, specific, stylus, H, strategic, stimulating, simple, shocking. Let's take a look at each of them separately. Number 1, singular. The goal here is to create and share just one big promise, one unique delivery system. You do this with one story. And your goal is to evoke just one emotion and lead your prospects towards one conclusion. You see, here's a common marketing problem. Sometimes marketers realize on some level that their idea is weak. Their big promise is weak. The emotion they're trying to generate is ineffective. So what do? They try to pile on more stuff. They try to present multiple ideas, multiple big promises, multiple storylines, multiple conclusions, etc. I don't have to tell you what happens. The big promise gets diluted. The entire marketing message becomes murky, and prospects shun the marketing message like a sumo wrestler shuns rice cakes. Here's the point. Trying to pile on extra stuff to strengthen your attention-getting marketing message does not strengthen it. Instead, it weakens it. Let me give you an example. You forget your phone at home and now you find yourself needing some cash in a strange part of town. Let's suppose you go up to some Joe Blow on the street and ask him how to get to the nearest ATM. You're looking for a set of easy point A to point B directions, right? Joe Blow proceeds to tell you how to get to nearest ATM. The instructions seem pretty clear. You're about ready to go on your merry way. But then Joe tells you that there is another ATM that's a tiny bit further, but you can actually get to it more quickly since there is no road construction. Fine, you say. Let me know how to get there. He tells you, but then he suggests to you that that's not the best choice of ATMs, because it has a higher fee than the first ATM he told you about. Okay, so you're thinking you'll go to the first one. Then he tells you that the first one is sort of in a dodgy gas station, so you probably don't want to go there either. About 6 ATM descriptions and set of directions later, you're about ready to give up. You're confused as all get out. You can't even remember the directions to any of the options. And since there are so many options, you'd have troubles picking one. So here's where I'm going with this. If you throw a ton of options, benefits, storylines, conclusions, and emotions at your prospects, they're going to feel the exact same way. Confused, overwhelmed, unable to make a choice. Point is, don't turn your marketing message into a B cluster. Instead, create and convey just one clear message. Which brings us to the next point. Number 2. Specificity. You probably have an idea of what sort of benefit or promise you'd like to convey. Now, if you want to make this promise as strong and enticing as possible, it needs to be specific. Let's suppose you're selling weight loss stuff, and you promise prospects that they can lose weight. You know what your prospects are going to think? This. Big whoop. Technically, losing 1 ounce falls into the category of losing weight, but I can guarantee that your prospects are looking to lose a whole lot more than 1 ounce. That's why you need to be specific with your promise. E.g., lose 55 pounds or your money back. Note, I'm just throwing this out as an example. As always, you need to check your local laws before you start making specific claims. This is especially true of income claims, but definitely applies to others as well. The second reason you need to be specific is because a specific number is more credible. And the more specific the number, the more credible it is. Here's what I mean. Don't round up. Don't round down. Be specific. Where applicable. For example, let's suppose you have an ad venue, like a newsletter, that give advertisers exposure to 5,014 prospects. That's close to 5,000. In any other case, rounding down to 5,000 makes sense. After all, psychologically 5,000 prospects and 5,014 prospects are close. The extra 14 just doesn't make a huge difference to someone who is deciding whether to place an ad in that venue or not. But that's not where this claim makes the impact. Because here's the thing, stating 5,000 is just a little too neat and clean. Rationally, your prospect knows that you don't have exactly, and I mean exactly, 5,000 subscribers to that newsletter. So when you state there are exactly 5,000, then there's going to be that niggling thought in the potential advertiser's mind that you're fudging other numbers too. That's why you state the specific exact number, 5,014. Because when you do that, now there's a part of your prospect who's saying, wow, this person is specific, credible, honest. This in turn builds trust between you and your prospect, which later on will lead to a higher conversion rate, a bigger list, and more sales. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's turn our attention back to the 7 characteristics your marketing message must possess if you want to command attention. Here's number 3. Number 3, stylish. In order to capture attention, your marketing message needs to be stylish. And what I mean by that is it needs to be timely. Let me give you a quick image. Imagine some random dude walking into the room. He's got a mullet, business in the front, party in the back. That 80s hairdo matches perfectly with his members-only jacket and his parachute pants. And suddenly you realize he's here to sell you some fashion advice. A typical reaction? No. And your prospects are the same way. If your message doesn't seem timely and fresh, they're not going to listen to it. Simply put, no one pays attention to yesterday's news. If you want to capture attention, you need to at least be giving off the right now vibe. And even better if your marketing message is saying, "This is the future." Makes sense, right? We're built to confer a higher value to anything that is cutting edge. We don't like old, dated information or products. When we see stuff that seems old and outdated, we drop it into the ignore folders in our brains. In fact, our brains actually light up when we encounter something new. That's right, our brains reward us with a rush of pleasurable chemicals. That means that people are constantly seeking out new stuff. When you get someone looking at your marketing message and saying, "Whoa, I've never seen this before," then you've got biology on your side to hook them good. Again, keep in mind that your solution doesn't even need to be unique. Instead, you just need to deliver it in a unique way. That's enough to light up your prospect's brain and get them joining your list to get their next hit of happy brain chemicals. Now here's the next component of a strong, attention-getting marketing message. Number 4, strategic. The idea here is that your marketing message needs to strategically lead to one conclusion. And a good way to do this is by demonstrating that your unique delivery system is the best way for them to get the promised benefit or achieve a goal. See, you don't want your prospects thinking about too many other things. And you for sure don't want them to think about how your competitors' offers can solve their solutions. That's why your unique delivery is going to help seal the deal and strategically lead them to the conclusion that they ought to do business with you. Let's go back to the P90X example you learned about a few pages back. Imagine for a moment that someone is looking to lose weight, and imagine that they encounter P90X before they coined their muscle confusion mechanism. Here's a company promising that prospects will transform their bodies in 90 days, and they'll do it through more exercise and fewer calories. Guess what? That's how all dieting programs work. There is no mystery there. So now a prospect starts thinking about the competitors. They start shopping around, and there's a good chance they'll pick some other program that's also based on fewer calories and more exercise. Now add in the unique delivery, muscle confusion, and suddenly the prospect only sees one solution, P90X. That's because that's the only program where prospects can take advantage of the science of muscle confusion. Point is, offering a generic solution doesn't strategically lead the prospect to your desired conclusion. You need to point them directly towards your desired conclusion like a border collie herds sheep. And that means offering them something unique so that they close their minds to other, inferior options. Now the next characteristic that helps your marketing message command attention. Number 5, stimulating. If you want to get attention, then you need to stimulate emotion. That's because people make decisions and take action based on emotion, and they justify those decisions and actions with logic. If you can imagine a tug of war between logic and emotion going on inside your prospect, emotion is going to almost always win. Think of the guy who sets out to buy a more practical, gas-sipping hybrid car and instead walks out of the dealership with a new sports car. That's emotion winning over logic. Or the woman who can't seem to stop chasing the bad boys, even though she knows they aren't stable enough for marriage and children. That's emotion winning over logic. Or the shopper who pays twice as much for the name brand item over the generic because the name brand item stirs up some specific emotion. Logically, the person may even know the items are exactly the same, but emotion wins out again. That's why it's so important for your marketing message to evoke emotion, because that is what's going to get your prospect to take action. Now remember, you need to focus on evoking one emotion. Sure, your marketing as a whole is going to stir up several different emotions, but when you're putting out that 1-2 punch of a marketing message, you need to focus on just one emotion. Otherwise, you once again risk diluting the impact of your message, and your prospect's attention slips away. Here's the next characteristic of a powerful, attention-getting message. Number 6, simple. You only have a few seconds to grab your prospect's attention, and that means your message needs to be so simple that it can be immediately understood. Now is not the time for nuance. Your prospect doesn't have the attention span or brain power to do nuance, especially when all you're doing is working to grab their attention. They don't want to spend long minutes trying to work out what's in it for them. Instead, you want to hit them with a short, sweet, and simple message that gets them wanting more. Here are 2 don'ts to keep in mind. Don't overestimate what your user knows. Here's the thing about being an expert in your field. Chances are you make logical leaps that many of your prospects simply incapable of making. You know so much that you've forgotten what it's like to be a beginner in the field. As such, it's easy for your marketing messages to become too complex, simply because you're thinking that your users know more than they actually do. Indeed, scientists have shown that beginners understand and learn better from other beginners, or even intermediate-level users, in the niche, simply because experts make logical leaps that beginners can't grasp. That's why college students sometimes learn complex topics more easily when a graduate-level teaching assistant, TA, teaches the topic as opposed to the professor. The TA is at a closer level of learning to the undergraduates, so the TA doesn't make the logical leaps that the professor, an expert, makes. Now maybe you're wondering what I'm talking about here regarding logical leaps. Let me explain. It means leaving out crucial information because you assume the audience knows that they need to do A before they can do B. Let me give you an example. Let's suppose you're teaching beginning marketers how to set up a blog. So you start giving them instructions about how to set up a WordPress blog on their website. Your first instruction: download the files from wordpress.org. You just assume that users have taken the actual first step, which is to get a domain name and secure hosting, and you start teaching them how to install WordPress under this assumption that they've already completed this step. Now, if you're talking to true beginners, you just completely lost them. You've made a logical leap, thinking they already have a website up, or that they know how to do it. But they have no clue where to get a domain name, they don't know about hosting, and they've never even heard of changing domain name servers. Even if your step-by-step instructions for setting up a WordPress blog are clear and simple, it doesn't matter. If you started out by assuming that your users know more than they know, then you've lost them before they even got a chance to try out your instructions. Same is true of your marketing message. If you assume some level of knowledge that isn't there, you're going to lose your prospect's attention. If you're not sure what your prospects know, now is not the time to guess. Instead, find out. Do your market research. Survey them. Talk to them. Do focus groups. And if you have the slightest doubt, then err on the side of caution and assume that your market knows less than they know. All of this is related to the second tip. Don't try to sound smart. Talking at a level of knowledge that's above your target market is one way to try to sound smart. Another way is to simply write using big, unnecessary words. We're talking those $100 words that make you think you sound smart. But the actual effect is that they muddy your marketing message. Because here's the thing. Whether you're writing a few-word hook or a pages-long sales letter, you want your message to be smooth as silk. Big words and convoluted sentences only serve as speed bumps that slow down your reader. If your reader pauses, if they're confused, or if they even have to reread something to get it, they're going to click away. That's why you need to keep both your marketing message and the way you express it simple and easy to understand quickly. Now let's take a look at the final characteristic of an attention-getting marketing message. Number 7, shocking. We've covered this already earlier in the guide. The point is, your message needs to serve as a pattern interrupt. It needs to shock your prospect out of whatever irrelevant thing they're thinking about so they can give you their full attention. You don't do this with a copycat marketing message. You don't do this with a boring message. You don't do this with an average, everyday marketing message. In order to shock, your marketing message needs to be bold and different. With that in mind, along with the other 6 characteristics we've been talking about, let's now turn to the 2-part task of determining your big promise and deciding on a unique delivery. Part 1. Determining your big promise. In order to figure out what you're going to use as your big promise, you first need to determine why people buy your product. In some cases, it's not immediately obvious. This is referred to as your product's hidden benefit. Let me give you an example. Let's suppose you open up a coffee shop in a trendy, busy part of town surrounded by retail shops, artsy shops, and hopping nightlife. This is the kind of place where people go just to watch other people. And you've managed to grab an awesome location that includes outside patio seating. You set about creating the perfect drink and snack menu. You create a few new coffee drinks that you position as your signature drinks. And then you tack a premium price on the coffee because you know your drinks are worth it. Business is booming. Your shop is full of customers at all hours of the day. So you decide to open a second location. The second coffee shop is basically set up the same, with patio seating and an awesome beverage selection. The difference is the location of the shop. It's set near businesses, because you know all the office workers are going to want to grab their coffees on the way to work. And therein lies the problem. Suddenly you find that people simply aren't as willing to pay $8 for a cup of coffee. Why? Because the coffee itself isn't worth that price. At least not to office workers who are just grabbing a to-go order on their way to work. Here's the thing. The customers at the trendy location were not paying $8 for coffee. Instead, they were leasing a spot on a patio in the trendiest part of town for $8. They were seeing and being seen. And for that sort of experience, it was worth the price of admission. Point is, the hidden benefit of a cup of coffee in this case had nothing to do with the coffee itself. Instead, it was all about the experience. And failing to recognize a hidden benefit like that can sink a business. Let me share with you another example, this time a real-life demo of how Pepsi started selling more soda simply by uncovering their hidden benefit. Back in the early 1970s, Pepsi decided to really study their market in order to understand why their customers buy what they buy. And here's something they discovered. People who purchased soda did so not because of their taste preference, so much as whether they were able to bring the soda home. A light bulb went off for the Pepsi marketing executives. At this time, soda was usually packaged in heavy glass bottles. Think of Coke's unique bottle shape, which was part of its branding. So Pepsi decided to change the way it packaged soda. And this was the beginning of the plastic multi-packs we see today. What happened? Now Coke's hourglass bottle became a liability rather than an asset, and Pepsi's share of the market increased, simply because people could purchase more during any shopping trip since it was easier to carry the lighter weight multi-packs home. So as you can see, Pepsi's hidden benefit in this example had nothing to do with the taste. Rather, it had to do with the weight of the product. That's a real-life example of how a company recognized and used a hidden benefit to their advantage. Now, in order for you to do the same thing, you need to understand your customer and why they purchase your product. Let me share with you an example of a company that failed to do this in one of their markets. McDonald's has built a global company that's based on providing fast food at a cheap price. Everything about McDonald's is built around moving people in and out of the store very quickly. This includes a precise system for taking, making, and fulfilling orders quickly. A drive-through to make it even faster and easier for customers to get their food. Relatively uncomfortable seating so that customers don't linger, which is costly to a fast food restaurant. That's their whole shtick. So when the restaurant began expanding globally, they largely kept these factors in place so that customers would come and go quickly, which is the key to profits for this particular business model. When McDonald's expanded to China, they set their store up the same way. The executives did realize they were going to need to lower their prices for this market, which they did. But what they didn't realize is that a meal at McDonald's was still really expensive for the average Chinese family. Did the Chinese refuse to go to McDonald's because of the relatively high cost of a meal? Nope. They still came, they purchased, they ate. But here's the kicker. These customers lingered. The reason is simple. If a Chinese family with lower means is going to splurge money at McDonald's, they wanted to make an event out of it. The food itself wasn't worth the price to them, so the customers made it worth the price to them by lingering and visiting with friends and family. This cost McDonald's money, as they built a business model around getting people in and out quickly. In order to make the Chinese and other lower-income markets more profitable, McDonald's realized they needed to expand the sizes of their dining areas so that the company can make money even if people lingered. In other words, McDonald's failed to recognize why their Chinese customers purchased from them, which was because the store was a nice place to meet and visit with friends and family. So now you can see the importance of understanding why your customers purchase your product or service. This will help you work out your primary promise, which may be directly tied into the hidden benefit of your offer. Which brings us to this question. How do you uncover the primary promise and hidden benefit? In order to work out these attributes of your product, you need to truly understand why people buy your product. And the only way to do that is to ask your customers why they chose your product and/or why they continue to use it. Take note that it's also useful to find out why a prospect chooses to do business with your competitor rather than you. Sure, you may have some good ideas about why people buy, and indeed you shouldn't even start building your product until you truly understand what your market wants and needs. This isn't a time for guessing. You need to know for sure, and the only way to do that is by finding out directly from the source, your customers. Tip: you can do this with focus groups and/or by asking customers to take a survey. Here are some of the questions you may ask your target market. Why didn't you purchase product? Why did you buy product? If you currently use the product, why do you use product? What solution did you previously use? What convinced you to switch from that solution to product? If you don't use product, please explain why you don't use it. Let me make a note here. Sometimes people buy a product for a specific reason, but then they never use it. In many cases, it's because there isn't enough of a motivation, or it's too high risk to switch from one solution to another. Let me give you an example. Let's suppose you use one of the big-name autoresponders, and you've been incredibly happy with their service. If a new autoresponder came along and tried to lure you away, you'd need an awfully good reason to switch. That's because it's too risky to entrust your valuable list with a company you've never heard of. Chances are the company would need to do the following in order to convince you to give them a try. Provide proof that they're trustworthy, since really talking up their database security. This would make you feel better about taking the risk. Offer a benefit not offered in your current solution, such as better automation to make growing your business even easier. Give you free trial so you could try it out without a financial risk. If they failed to do any of that, you might never even consider trying them out. Or you might purchase a month of service, but ultimately decide it's too risky to entrust your list to an unknown company. Thus you might buy, but not actually switch services. And it's valuable for the business owner to understand why you would do this. Now, when you're working out why people buy your product, keep in mind that there are basic, positive, and negative attributes. A basic attribute is one that is so common, your market assumes that it's going to part of your product too. If you fail to include this basic attribute, you're going to lose sales and customers. For example, a fast food hamburger shop is expected to have French fries. That's a basic attribute, meaning customers assume a shop that sells burgers is also going to sell fries. If you don't sell fries, your shop would likely bomb. Another example, a basic attribute of an autoresponder is the ability to create an opt-in form by copying and pasting a line or so of code. If you create an autoresponder without this basic feature, your business is likely to struggle. Simply put, you can consider a basic positive attribute as non-negotiable in your market. Another type of attribute is the distinguishing attribute. This is a feature or benefit that is different from what the competitor offers. This may be positive or negative. If the distinguisher is negative, it can drive your prospects towards the competitor. For example, in days past, Listerine was known for having a medicinal taste. Some people viewed this distinguishing attribute as negative, which in turn drove these prospects to choose better tasting products such as Scope. If the market feels positive about the distinguisher, then it can help generate attention and drive sales. Indeed, if the distinguisher is very powerful and very positive, then it may become an exciter. An exciter, aka energizer, is a distinguishing attribute that's so powerful that it becomes the reason why people buy your product. This may indeed be the hidden benefit. Take the example of a gas station. Gas stations are selling a commodity, and they're selling them for around the same price as their competitors. There's not much room for differentiating oneself based on the quality of the product or price. So gas stations need to create other distinguishing features that excite customers. What do long-distance travelers do at almost every gas stop? You don't even need to survey the market to figure out what it is. The answer is that they use the restroom. And boom, there's the hidden benefit. If a gas station can become known for offering clean, family-friendly restrooms, then they're going to pull in a greater market share than the gas station that's still focused on selling its commodity. That's because a clean restroom is an exciter. For this example, the primary benefit may be that a gas station is conveniently right off the freeway, so people can gas up and get going again quickly. The hidden benefit is the clean, family-friendly restroom. Let me give you another example. Sometimes busy, single women need to do their grocery shopping at night. Every woman knows that this can be dangerous, especially if you live in a dodgy part of town. As such, women sometimes choose what grocery store to go to based on whether they feel safe, not whether the store has the best selection or lowest prices. That's why years ago some grocery stores began posting security guards outside their stores at night. These guards offered to walk customers to their car after their shopping was done. Now shoppers didn't have to be looking over their shoulders in fear as they transferred their purchases into the car because a guard was with them. In this case, the grocery store's primary benefit may revolve around offering a great selection at low prices, but the hidden benefit is being able to shop safely. So you get the point. You need to understand not only why customers buy your type of product in general, but why they choose specific brands' products. This will help you develop your primary promise and recognize the hidden benefit. At this point, you've asked your prospects and customers questions in order to understand why they purchased and used your product. Now you need to ask yourself a question. If there were no limits, if you could just wave a magic wand and give your customers some sort of highly desirable benefit and results, what would those results be? Naturally, your answer should be driven by your market research. Go ahead and brainstorm boldly. Don't censor yourself. That's because this ultimate result is going to become the basis of your primary promise. You want to determine what pain points your product can eliminate and how your customers' lives change as a result of your product. We're going to pull all of this information together in just a bit, but first, let's take a look at the next part of your marketing message, which is going to help you attract attention. Part 2, deciding on a unique delivery. As you've already discovered, there are other businesses in your niche that are offering the same primary promise as you. So now it's time to differentiate yourself, and you do this by delivering that benefit using a unique method. Remember, people buy based on emotion and justify with logic. Your unique delivery is going to help with both of these factors. A unique delivery method gives your prospects hope that your solution is going to work, whereas others have failed them before. And your unique delivery method is going to appeal to the rational brain, as it becomes the logical justification for choosing your product. Now, in some cases, your primary promise and unique method may be tied to your hidden benefit. Let's go back to the P90X weight loss program. The primary promise is weight loss, and the unique delivery is via an intensive workout that creates muscle confusion. The hidden benefit is that the workouts are fun and energizing, so people stick with them. Thus, the hidden benefit is linked to the unique delivery method. Does this mean your hidden benefit is going to be linked to your unique delivery method? Maybe, maybe not. If you can tie them together, that will make your message even more powerful. So let's look at the 3 different ways you can create a unique delivery method for fulfilling your primary promise. Method number 1, offering an actual unique delivery method. This is the holy grail of unique delivery methods. That's because in this case, you're absolutely offering something that no one else is offering. It might be a completely brand new product or service that no one had ever heard of before, or it may be a new feature on a product or service. For example, just a bit later in this report, you're going to see the example of Motobag, which offers a fun traveling experience. And they do it with a completely unique delivery method, motorized luggage that you can ride through the airport. Now chances are you probably aren't offering something that's never before been seen in your market. And that's okay because there are 2 other ways to develop a unique delivery method. Here's the next one. Method number 2, touting a method that's unique to your prospects. In this case, your competitors may be using the same delivery method as you, but no one is talking about it. So while the method isn't unique to your industry, it is unique and unknown to your prospects. Take the example of Folgers coffee. They promise that the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup, and their unique delivery method for fulfilling this promise of delicious coffee is because their coffee is mountain grown. But here's the thing. Virtually all coffee is grown in the mountains. Many of Folgers' competitors have mountain-grown coffee too, but no one ever mentioned it in their marketing. So while mountain-grown coffee isn't unique in the industry as a whole, at the time of the original campaign, it was unique to the prospects. Simply put, your average coffee drinker didn't spend a whole lot of time thinking about where coffee is grown. You need to be careful with this method. That's because everyone else in your industry is using it, so you need to be absolutely sure that you are the first in your market to actually make the claim. Otherwise, your marketing message isn't going to be bold and exciting. Instead, it will come off as a weak, whimpering copycat message. And now the final way to create a unique method for fulfilling your primary promise. Method number 3, turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. In this case, your competitors are likely delivering the benefit using the same or similar methods as you are. They've likely even drawn attention to this method in their marketing. But what you can do is give the delivery method a new name. Once again, let's go back to the P90X example, where the company coined the phrase muscle confusion. The competitors were offering similar delivery methods to get results, and some of them were talking about it, such as using terms like avoiding adaptation. So what P90X did is give it a shiny new name, muscle confusion, which turned the ordinary into the extraordinary. Here's another example. The online dating site eharmony.com. Like other dating sites, its primary promise is to help singles find their matches, soulmates. But what made this singles site different from the competitors is that it offered a scientifically proven matching system for helping people find love. Love backed by science. Now that was different, and it's likely one of the big reasons eHarmony grew into one of the most popular dating sites online. And as an added bonus, the unique delivery method, science, also creates the hidden benefit, which is that these matches may be more likely to survive the long term. Side note, it's worth noting that eHarmony has abandoned those claims in some parts of the world, as ad regulators have deemed them to be misleading. Now it's your turn. Think about what you can do to create your unique delivery method. If you have a truly unique product, use that. Otherwise, use the number 2 or number 3 methods as described above, whichever suits your business best. pulling it all together into a powerful attention-getting message. At this point, you've been learning about how to create a bold, attention-getting message. The basic idea is to put forth a primary promise with a unique delivery method. Together, this message should be both emotionally and intellectually engaging. You got the basics down. Now it's time to build your framework so you can apply what you've learned to your business. Read on. Developing the hook. For the purposes of this guide, we're focusing on how to get attention in a crowded marketplace. You've learned about presenting a big promise with a unique delivery, which is both emotionally and intellectually engaging. Now we're going to pull this all together and develop your hook. A marketing hook is just what it sounds like. It's something that hooks your prospects and reels them in. It grabs their attention. It gives you a few extra seconds of your prospect's time. In some cases, your hook may be a very succinct version of your primary promise and unique delivery. In other cases, your hook is used to buy some of your prospect's time so that in turn you can present your primary promise and unique delivery. In that case, the hook is tied to the big promise, but it may not state the primary promise or unique delivery method. In all cases, it's very short, just a few words, and it's designed to get attention, raise interest, and perhaps stir up curiosity regarding your message. It's a teaser, like an appetizer before the main dish. Here's an example, one you may have heard of. Amazing secret discovered by one-legged golfer. This sort of hook instantly arouses curiosity, not only because of the words amazing secret, but because of the premise, the fact that a one-legged golfer discovered this information. Any serious golfer is going to want to know what this person knows that they don't know. The prospect is hooked, so they need to read on. As you might suspect, there are multiple ways you can hook your audience on your landing page or via your viral video. Here are some of the more common ways to get attention. Offer something new. Motobags claim, let your carry-on carry you. This is the hook that makes people stop in their tracks and say, whoa, I've never seen that before. Create fear. The Blair Witch Project's 3 missing film students. The fictional film managed to scare the bediddles out of the audience by making them think that maybe, just maybe, the film was not fiction. Maybe it was true. Maybe 3 film students really did disappear. Arouse curiosity. Metro trains Melbourne's Dumb Ways to Die. This example creates a wait what reaction, and the only way people can satisfy their curiosity about the hook is by watching the video. Inspire, e.g. Samsung's Do Bigger Things. Here the company tapped into a desire that many humans have to do something big and amazing. Evoke your primary promise and or unique delivery system, e.g. Dollar Shave Club's promise, our blades are F-ing great. Use humor, e.g. elf yourself. The play on words was not only funny but slightly startling too. And not only is the hook funny, but the end result was funny too. That's because this was all about turning yourself and your friends into an animated holiday card featuring elves. Shock your audience, e.g. Poopery's hook. Girls don't poop. Here's a taboo subject that a company is openly talking about. It's shocking, and the target audience can't help but keep watching because they want to know more. Create a visual image, e.g. Seth Godin's Purple Cow. How to transform your business by being remarkable. You get an image in your head that fits perfectly with the title in this case. So as you can see, there are several different ways to hook your audience so that you can get attention, which in turn buys you time to present your primary promise and unique delivery method. Now let's finish building your message. Polishing your framework. In order for your marketing message to be highly effective, you'll want to keep the following rules in mind. Make it believable. Earlier you learned about developing your primary promise by thinking about what sort of ultimate benefit you could deliver to your ideal client if there were no limitations. While this is a great brainstorming exercise, the truth is that while your primary promise needs to be big and bold to get attention, it also needs to be believable. Because you know what? If your prospects don't believe your big promise, they're not going to stick around to read more. They're going to hit the back button, mute your video, trash your email. So keep it believable if you want to keep prospects on your landing page. And be prepared to back up your boldest claims with some sort of proof. Keep it succinct. Your audience has the attention span of a gnat. You have just a few seconds to grab attention. That's why you need to bait your marketing hook with a very powerful yet succinct message. Remember, your audience doesn't have time for nuance at this stage, so pack the biggest punch you can in as few words as possible. So shall we take a look at this attention-getting framework in action? Read on. 5 real-life examples of massively successful attention-getting campaigns. We've been talking about how to create a succinct marketing message that gets attention. The key is to emotionally and intellectually engage your prospects by ensuring your campaign, such as your landing page, video, sales copy, etc., includes as many of the attention-getting components as possible. Check out these examples to find out how others are doing it. Example 1. Samsung, 2017 Galaxy Note 8. In the summer of 2017, Samsung developed a campaign with the hook, "Do bigger things." This campaign included lines such as, "You can think small," or "You can do bigger things," and communicate in a whole new way. This hook engaged people emotionally, as it appealed to their desires to accomplish something amazing in the world. It also appealed to viewers on an intellectual level, as they grew curious about what sort of big things this little phone could accomplish. Up until this campaign, Samsung had been focusing on productivity messaging. However, for this campaign, the company wanted to showcase the hidden benefit of the Galaxy Note 8, which was to facilitate true self-expression. It accomplished this with the S Pen, for drawing rather than typing, a bigger screen, and other features for artists, writers, photographers, and other creatives to express themselves. Tip: the S Pen is the unique delivery mechanism that sets the Note 8 apart from the competitors. It's what delivers the benefit, the ability to do bigger things. To engage users, they ran a contest where users shared the bigger things they wanted to do. The winners included a person who designs mugs, a writer, and a startup consultant. According to Adage, the campaign generated 139,951,243 views, some of these due to paid advertising and some of them due to the genuine viral effect. While the original campaign page has been taken down, since the contest is long over, you can get a feel for the Do Bigger Things campaign by checking out this page, http://www.samsung.com/ae/smartphones/Galaxy Note 8/ the campaign worked. Just a few years prior, the Galaxy Note was considered too niche to sell well. The Do Bigger Things campaign, however, helped the Note 8 outsell the iPhone X in Korea, and 2 months into the campaign it was still selling north of 10,000 units per day. Next, example 2, Poo-Pourri 2013 promo. In 2013, Poo-Pourri created a video whose title, "Girls Don't Poop," reflected the hook. This campaign quickly went viral with over 40,600,000 views on YouTube. And that doesn't even include the views on other channels, such as those who uploaded videos to Facebook, Twitter, and so on. The video opens with a statement that shocks viewers right off the bat. A woman is seated in a stall in a public bathroom, and with a rather prim and proper accent, she says, "You wouldn't believe the mother load I just dropped, and that's how I like to keep it." The video goes on to explain how Poo-Pourri is better and different than traditional bathroom sprays because you use it before you go. It creates a thin film in the toilet water that traps odors, unlike traditional chemical sprays that just mix the chemicals with the biological odors. And therein lies the hidden benefit. While most bathroom sprays simply make the bathroom smell better, they act as huge billboards that practically scream, "I just took a dump." Poo-Pourri is designed to make it seem as if it never happened at all, which supports the humorous myth that girls don't poop. This campaign is immediately engaging on both the intellectual and emotional levels. The video engages people emotionally by talking about a taboo topic very openly. Intellectually, it appeals to people because everyone is used to masking odors with sprays, not trapping the odors to make it seem as if they never happened. In other words, the benefit is making it seem like number 2 never happened, while the unique delivery is the patented nature of the spray that people use before they get down to doing their business. You can see the ad here, https://www.youtube.com/watch. $V=ZKLNHUZH9UY. Did it work? You bet it did. Poo-Pourri was founded in 2007, and it spent its first 6 years growing organically through word of mouth and sales in boutiques. 3 years after the viral campaign and the similarly shocking and clever campaigns that followed, Poo-Pourri was worth $300 million and had sold 17 million bottles of the product. Now the next example. Example 3, Grammarly 2017 promo. In September of 2017, Grammarly, which sells software to enhance writing, launched a video that immediately generated tens of millions of views, which landed it on the Adage Top Viral Videos list. By the time it had been up for 8 months, it had 177,181,798 views. The hook was simple: enhance your writing. You can check it out here, https://www.youtube.com/watch, V=Mu9IJ8RYWM. And that fit right into the emotional appeal. Grammarly will make you look good. You'll look smart in front of your employers and teachers. You'll get the respect you deserve. The intellectual appeal that gets people taking a closer look is that Grammarly is not just a spell check, which is what most people are accustomed to using. So prospects take a closer look to see how Grammarly is different than what they're already using. The benefit is better writing, and the unique delivery of this benefit is via artificial intelligence. Did it work? While we don't have sales figures based just on this campaign, we can note that Grammarly has used similar campaigns in the past to grow to where it is today. The company started in 2009, and it quickly grew to become an Inc. 500 company. 9 years after its inception, it had 6.9 million daily users, and that number grows steadily. Here's the next example. Example 4, Dollar Shave Club. Here's one of our older examples. It's a video called Our Blades Are Effing Great by the Dollar Shave Club. It was launched in 2012 and has generated over 25 million views on YouTube alone. You can see it here. https://www.youtube.com/watch?vi=zug9QYTJMSci. The hook is simple and is right there in the title. The blades are effing great. What engages people on both an intellectual level is they're wondering if you can really get great blades for $1. The answer is yes. The video also engages people on an emotional level, as it tells a story. Watch the video to see how it engages people, injects humor, and it makes users feel smart for spending less. The benefit is that users get great blades at a low price because the blades are designed to do one thing: remove hair. The ad pokes fun at outrageous extras that can cost 20 times as much. As the CEO says, do you really need a razor with vibrating handles, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Simply put, users get the benefit of a clean shave. And the unique delivery mechanism is that the blades are great because they're not loaded down with shave tech you don't need. That delivery mechanism is reflected in the price. Did it work? Yep. This campaign brought 12,000 razor customers to Dollar Shave Club's door in the first 2 days after it launched. Here's one more example. Example 5, Motobag. Here's an example of a viral campaign that was used to crowdfund a product. It's called Motobag, and its hook is that it's the world's first motorized rideable luggage. In short, it's the carry-on that carries you. The benefit is to make travel easier, and the unique way this product does it is by letting users ride their luggage. This totally changes travel, because instead of luggage being a burden that you need to drag through the airport, your luggage becomes the thing that makes traveling easier and more fun. You can see the emotional appeal as people imagine the joy of cruising through the airport on motorized luggage. And the intellectual engagement is there because this is the first time anything like it has been seriously introduced on the market. Did the campaign work? The video was viewed millions of times across platforms. You can see it here. https://www.youtube.com/watch. !time_con, tin=1 and v=, has UCA3, humai. We don't have exact numbers, as the video was posted in multiple places, some of which don't count views, such as crowdfunding sites. However, the campaign definitely was successful. Motobag raised $758,316 for their Indiegogo campaign, which was 658% of their original goal. Now let's wrap things up. Conclusion 1, 2, 3. All it takes is just a few seconds to completely lose your prospect's attention. Once it's gone, it's gone. If you didn't totally capture their attention within seconds the first time they visited your landing page or started watching your video, it's highly unlikely you're going to get a second chance. That's why you need to build a marketing message within this framework. An attention-getting hook that buys you a few seconds of your prospect's time and attention so you can tell them more about your offer. A bold marketing message that makes a big promise. A unique method for fulfilling this promise. Together, these three components create an irresistible message that gets attention. If you stack these components together in the right way, your audience won't be able to look away. They'll be hooked. And then all you have to do is reel them in with the rest of your offer. So what are you waiting for? Roll up your sleeves and start brainstorming, because you could be just minutes away from creating the campaign that's going to change your entire business and propel you to the sort of success that you've been dreaming about.